So the Maison Margiela collection of fragrances keeps getting better and better. Just when we had a great one earlier this year called Under the Lemon Trees, we have another one that's also really good that's just launched called Whispers in the Library, this one right here. So I'm going to review this fragrance for you in this video. I'm going to tell you how great it is. So if you're curious to discover Whispers in the Library, then please stay tuned. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian with Smelling Great Fragrance Reviews. If this is your first time landing on my channel and you love watching fragrance reviews, finding out about new fragrances, discovering new brands, and of course participating in giveaways and still haven't subscribed, please click that subscribe button below and also click the bell so that you'll be notified for future videos and giveaways. So this is a collection of fragrances from a Belgian designer who is a clothing designer who is designing out of France. So a lot of people tell me that Maison Margiela is not a designer. It's more of a niche. Well, I think the fragrances might come off a bit like they are niche fragrances, but this is definitely a designer house. And the fragrances are in the clear bottle only $126. In Europe, they were about 90 euros. So I bought this bottle at the Printemps boutique in Paris. And if you ever make it there, make sure you ask for the department store discount card. You get 10% off. And of course, if you spend in Paris over $176, you get to save on the tax. But their tax rate is like in the 20% range. You only get back about 12% of that tax, and you have to deal with it at the airport. Anyway, this is a 2019 launch. It's called Whispers in the Library. It's an Eau De Toilette fragrance, and just like Under the Lemon Trees, this is unisex as well. And recently I featured Under the Lemon Trees in my summer fragrances video because I find it very, very good. But it's a citrus with a very sugary quality. Although it's not sweet, but it's a sweeter lemony fragrance. But this one is unisex again, and it says on here shared fragrance, of course, that's why it's unisex. And then it says paper and waxed wood library. So that's basically made to smell like what you would smell in a library. So you're smelling the paper and the waxed woods in the library, like a classic library. And this is a setting also, because each of the fragrances has a setting, and this is supposed to be in Oxford, England in 1997. So a library in Oxford, England. So I like the concept of these fragrances. They're very simplistic, first of all, when you look at the bottles, and also the themes and the settings about the fragrances make them very, very unique as well. So what do we have for notes here? Not a lot of notes in this one. According to the Maison Margiela website, there's peppery vanilla notes and of precious woods. And according to Fragrantica, it lists the notes separately. So you've got woody notes, you've got cedar, you've got black pepper, and you've got vanilla. So what do we get with this one? You know what? This was, when I first smelled it, I smelled it at the Maison Margiela boutique near the Rue Saint-Honoré in Paris. And I thought, wow, it's nice. I like it. It seems soft. And probably because I had smelled a bunch of stuff that day, so it wasn't jumping out at me. But I eventually ended up buying it because I really like this collection. It was slow for me to like this collection, but I've fallen in love with it. It's great for designers, especially since they are sort of niche leaning. But I've been wearing this one, and the magic happens in a dry down. First of all, I want to get that off my chest. It is such a great dry down. There's something really beautiful about it, but the overall experience is a very, very soft, woody experience. To me, it smells like polished wood, but good smelling polished wood, not like, like a cleaning solution or like polish smelling. It's like there's a very sheen and polished quality to the fragrance, and I like that about it. But you know what? It is sweet. The vanilla in here is very, very sweet. And one thing that's also not listed on the notes here, I get a major boozy quality with this one. The booziness adds this just unique extra layer to it, kind of going into, I don't know if you know the fragrances from Robert Graham. Fortitude is a fragrance from that collection, kind of sort of going in that kind of a direction. So that one's all about tonka beans, and maybe there's even some tonka beans in here as well, which they're not really listing in the notes, but there is a little bit of a similarity to that fragrance. And then also kind of hints at maybe Pure Havane, because that one's very boozy as a fragrance from Mugler. And then you know what? Also actually kind of hints at their own fragrance, Jazz Club. In fact, if I compare the two together, I much prefer this one over Jazz Club. It's minus the tobacco, of course, so Jazz Club does have tobacco, and I believe it also has whiskey, but I get those kind of qualities with this. But in the end, it's all about the beautiful, soft, woody smell. Now, I've never smelled any books or polished wood in libraries that smell this good, but if I did, I would go crazy if I was walking into a room or a library where it was smelling like this. I'd pretty much go crazy because this does smell great. But for me, once again, I'll say it, the magic really does happen and at the end or in the dry down rather than when you first spray it. Because when you first spray it, you get the vanilla and you get black pepper right away. But the woody notes kind of creep in and start taking over because for me, they are major players, but for me, it's more about the vanilla. But when it's drying down and all the notes are kind of blending, and when you start picking up that booziness, which is not credited at all, the dry down, it just leaves such a great dry down, very, very sexy, kind of a, you know, classy and the sexy at the same time kind of an experience. It reminds me of like Boozy fragrances that I've worn that I've really loved, and that Boozy thing just keeps coming up with this one, and that's how great the dry down is. But this one is not a beast. It's not one of those fragrances that is really loud. It's a very soft experience. It's a soft, spicy experience, and there are also very powdery elements with this fragrance too. But it's not like you're shaking the powder and it's like dusty everywhere. It's not like that. You can just experience the powderiness with this one. It's a delicate fragrance, but man, the fragrance does last quite a bit. It's a great, most of the day experience actually. Very close to the skin as the fragrance is drying. It does start out close, but still projects a bit, but as it's drying it's getting closer and closer. But it's when it's close to your skin, you smell yourself and you go, wow, what am I wearing? What the heck did I spray? Because sometimes throughout the day I spray multiple fragrances, and this one beats the dry down with a lot of other fragrances that I've had, and I get wowed by it. It's just that good. But see, I'll say it again, it didn't wow me upon initial spray or when I first smelled it at the Maison Margiela boutique in Paris, as I was saying, but the more I wear it, the more I love the dry down. The dry down is just really king here. So hopefully you guys will go check this one out. They sell these fragrances at Nordstrom's for one, Barney's, and then I believe Sephora's carries them as well. So if you have one of those stores near you, you can go and of course sample the fragrance. And maybe get a sample. Like Sephora and Nordstrom's are really great with samples, so you can go and make them yourself at Nordstrom, or even probably Sephora. Both, you can even ask one of the associates or something. Get a sample and test it out and see how great it is, because I really love the dry down. It's a soft and cozy experience rather than this really loud fragrance. And sometimes at the end of the day, when you wear a lot of like extremely intense fragrances, you want something a little more soft. You want to smell great. You want that dry down to be awesome, like this one is, but you don't want it to overwhelm, because overwhelm kind of gets tiring after a while, at least for me. And don't get me wrong, I love my big beastly fragrances, but I also love them when they're really soft and really sexy, like Whispers in the Library. And Whispers in the Library, I find it to be a catchy name, but the fragrances, I guess, Whispers are soft, you know, soft chatting or soft talking. So I guess it fits the fact that this fragrance is very soft and spicy rather than really loud, where it's like not talking in the library or shouting at the library. It's definitely Whispers in the Library. I hope that makes sense to you guys. But check out Whispers in the Library from Maison Margiela. And let me know, put a comment down, let me know if you've sampled this one, if you are a fan of this collection of fragrances. I do have some lists for this house on the channel. I've done the top 5 and maybe even a top 15. I've done 2 different videos. You can find out. I have a lot of their fragrances, and I do enjoy the house a lot. They've got some great fragrances, but I think the most popular, or one of the most popular ones, is Jazz Club. And now this has actually even beat Jazz Club, because not only do I find it boozy and a little bit like Jazz Club, I really love the experience of this one. So anyway, put some comments down. Let me know what you think about this house. If you've got this one, if you have any other ones like Under the Lemon Tree, let me know. Other than that, guys, please like this video, please share it, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.